We gathered the next morning, the air still cool and damp with dew. The forest felt different now. No longer just a playground of familiar trees and hidden forts. It had become a place of whispers and unseen currents. Our escape from the lab had changed us, unlocked something inside each of us that we were only just beginning to understand. Hope was a fragile thing, but it was there. A tiny spark we desperately needed to fan into a flame. And that flame started with control. There was a nervous energy between us, a mix of fear and excitement. Liza, ever the practical one, was already tinkering. She'd salvaged a mess of wires, circuits, and a cracked screen from an old, discarded handheld game console we'd found near the edge of town. Her fingers moved with a familiar, focused grace. "If Illyrian energy is what they used," she murmured, more to herself than to us, "it must have a unique signature. Like a radio frequency. If I can build a receiver, we can track it. Know if they're close." We watched in awe as she began to piece together her creation. A strange little box that hummed with quiet potential. It was our early warning system. Our shield against the shadows that hunted us. While Liza was our shield, I knew I had to become our ears. The world had become a chaotic symphony of sounds since our escape. A leaf falling 100 yards away sounded like a footstep right behind me. A bird's song was a piercing shriek. It was overwhelming, a constant barrage that left my head pounding. I had to learn to filter it, to focus. I found a quiet spot by a babbling brook, the gentle rush of water a constant, soothing hum. I closed my eyes and breathed deep. I imagined my hearing as a beam of light, something I could aim. I tried to pick out a single sound, the buzz of a dragonfly, the chatter of a squirrel, the rustle of a mouse in the undergrowth. At first, it was impossible. The roar of the world crashed over me. But I kept trying, hour after hour. Slowly, painfully, I started to find the threads. I could pull one sound forward, letting the others fade into a dull background roar. I focused on the tiny sounds, the ones no one else could hear, and in them, I found a new kind of silence. The world was still loud, but it was no longer screaming at me. I was learning its language. Sophie's power was the opposite of my internal struggle. It was a brilliant external force that she couldn't seem to contain. Light didn't just emanate from her hands. It burst forth, sometimes blindingly. She was terrified of it, terrified of hurting us or drawing unwanted attention. We found a small clearing, and I suggested she start small. "Don't think of it as a floodlight," I told her. "Think of it as a candle, just a tiny flame." She held out her hands, palms up, her brow furrowed in concentration. A blinding flash erupted, and she cried out in frustration, squeezing her eyes shut. "I can't," she whispered, her voice trembling. Max, ever the gentle giant, put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Try again," he said softly. "But this time, think of something small and beautiful. Something that makes you happy." Sophie took a deep breath. She thought of the fireflies we used to chase on summer evenings, their gentle, blinking lights. She held out her hand again, and this time a single, perfect orb of soft, warm light appeared, hovering just above her palm. It pulsed with a gentle rhythm like a tiny, captured star. A slow smile spread across her face. A real, genuine smile. She'd found her switch. She could dim the sun into a firefly. Max's transformation was the most physical. He'd always been quick, but now he was a blur. He moved with an impossible grace and speed that his own body wasn't used to. More than once, he'd misjudged a step and gone tumbling, his limbs a tangle of surprise. He needed to recalibrate his own senses, to match his mind to his newfound agility. So he created an obstacle course. He leaped over fallen logs, ducked under low-hanging branches, and weaved between trees at a speed that made my head spin. At first, he was clumsy, a whirlwind of near misses and spectacular wipeouts. But with each attempt, he grew more fluid. He wasn't just running, he was flowing. He learned to anticipate, to trust the impossible speed of his own reflexes. He'd launch himself over a ravine, his body a perfect arc against the sky, and land on the other side as softly as a cat. He was turning his power from a chaotic force into a precise instrument. He was learning to dance with the wind. For days, we trained in our separate corners of the woods, each of us locked in our own private battle for control. We'd meet in the evenings, exhausted but encouraged, sharing our small victories. Liza's device started to chirp intermittently, picking up faint energy traces. I could now pinpoint the scurry of a beetle from 50 paces. Sophie could create a whole constellation of floating lights, dimming and brightening them at will. Max could run the length of our clearing and back in the time it took to blink. We were getting stronger, but we were also exposed. Our little corner of the forest felt too close to the world we were hiding from. It was Max who found it. He'd been exploring further than any of us dared to go, a streak of motion vanishing into the dense woods. He came back just as the sun was setting, his eyes wide with an excitement we hadn't seen in weeks. "You have to see this," he said, his voice breathless. "All of you. Now." He led us on a winding path, deeper into the forest than we'd ever been. The trees grew older and larger here, their branches forming a thick canopy that dappled the forest floor in shades of green and gold. He pushed aside a curtain of heavy vines, revealing a hidden entrance in a wall of moss-covered rock. We stepped through into a place that felt ancient and alive. It was a circular grove, completely enclosed by the ancient trees and stone. A small, crystal-clear spring bubbled up from the center, feeding a pool that shimmered with an ethereal light. The air itself felt different here. It hummed with a soft, gentle energy that seemed to resonate with the power inside us. As soon as I stepped in, the sounds of the forest became clear and distinct. Not a chaotic roar, but a perfect, harmonious orchestra. I could hear every note. Sophie gasped as her hands began to glow with a soft, steady light. No effort required. Liza's device, which had been silent, suddenly let out a steady, high-pitched tone. She looked at the screen, her mouth open in disbelief. "The energy signature," she whispered. "It's pure. It's everywhere." Max, grinning, took a running start and leaped into the air. He didn't just jump, he soared, hanging in the air for a few impossible seconds before landing gently on the other side of the pool. It was like the grove was amplifying us, smoothing out the rough edges of our powers and showing us what they could truly be. The fear that had been our constant companion began to recede, replaced by a profound sense of awe and wonder. This was more than just a hiding place. It was a sanctuary. It was a place where we could not only practice but thrive. Here, in this hidden heart of the forest, we weren't just runaways with strange, frightening abilities. We were becoming something more. The grove gave us safety. It gave us strength. But most importantly, it gave us a new, powerful sense of hope. Our journey was far from over, but for the first time, we felt ready for whatever came next. We had found our training ground. Thanks for watching our story unfold. We're just getting started, and your support means the world to us. If you want to see what happens next, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll see you in the next chapter.